Everyone. All three of our panelists are members of the UUCP inclusion team. Each of them agreed to share their experiences with neurodiversity. And we asked the panelists to talk about three questions. First, how does it feel to be you in your day-to-day life? Second, what is it like to be you here at UUCP? And third, what can we do, or what have we done already to help you feel welcome and included in our community? Amanda Rogers speaks first, sharing experiences with autism.
Overwhelming is the first word that comes to mind. I'm very sensitive to noise, light, texture, and even just the presence of people. On the other hand, I do feel I'm more capable of appreciating the little things. The ripples on water, the color of the sky, the sensation of mist on my skin, etc. I do love my sensitivity, even if it isn't always easy. Socializing is also hard. I find I don't always naturally make the right facial expressions, so sometimes I have to manually choose how to move my face and body to express the appropriate feelings. For example, I might tilt my head, frown a little, and crease my brow to properly show concern. People are also really difficult to read. Facial expressions and tones of voice can be really hard to interpret. First, I'd like to make it clear that I love UUCP and it feels like home, but it can be very overwhelming. First, it can be noisy. The sanctuary is generally okay, but the Johnson room is loud, small, crowded, and echoey. When I go in for coffee, I feel like my inner battery starts to drain rapidly. In the cooler months, I can escape to the patio, but in the summer, that's not a choice, and I often find myself leaving coffee hour earlier than I want to. When I do leave, I'm exhausted. Another challenge for me at UUCP is the way a lot of people like to touch each other without asking. I love y'all, but I'm also very touch sensitive, and when someone touches me, like a hand on my shoulder by surprise, it feels like a mild electric shock, and it activates my fight or flight reflex. I know for a lot of people, touch is just how they express affection, but unexpected touch makes me feel really uncomfortable, and it reduces the amount of time I can spend at church. Something that's made me feel more comfortable and welcome has been the sensory center in the back of the sanctuary, earmuffs, fidget toys, and even weighted blankets for the use of everyone, not just the kids. I also really appreciate that the language around the meet and greet portion of the service has shifted to include quietly sitting and meditation. The expectations to suddenly socialize in a chaotic environment was always very stressful. Something that would really help me feel more welcome and included is a shift in our congregation's culture around touch. I understand it's how people show affection, but it's very stressful for some of us. Please ask before touching someone, even just touching their arm. And don't be offended if someone says no. Finally, please understand that not everyone socializes or acts the same way. Please remember that eye contact is uncomfortable for some of us. Also, some of us need to sensory regulate with fidget toys or movements like stroking hair, flapping hands, etc. This is called stimming, and it helps provide positive sensory input to reduce discomfort when we're overwhelmed. Please don't judge us, even if you don't understand.
Thank you, Amanda. To better understand Amanda's experience, we ask you to find something near you that helps you manage stimulation or soothes you. It might be the texture of a pillow, the weight of a favorite blanket, or snuggling with your pet. Take a few seconds to feel that soothing sensation. We're going to take about 30 seconds. I have a pillow from our couch that soothes me. Next, we hear from Sydney Harrison. Sydney shares their experience with ADHD, anxiety, and depression.
Hi, my name is Sydney. I go by they, them pronouns. And a little bit on how it feels to be me in daily life, having ADHD, anxiety, and depression. Is really hard. I struggle with maintaining a schedule and routine, even though those are things that I very much crave. And I have often felt very discombobulated and um, like I can't remember stuff. I tend to overlook myself all the time. And that causes a lot more anxiety. And it's just really hard keeping myself focused and together. And having multiple mental health things makes it harder because when you're depressed, you don't want to do anything, but that also, you may not, I don't want to do anything, but I often get really, really anxious about that. And it causes a lot of turmoil in my head um, about things that I need to get done, things I could be doing, things like that. And on what it's like to be at UUCP is a very special place, although there are some things that um, I struggle with being there. Um, the bathrooms I struggle with, but also I sometimes get overwhelmed with the amount of people. Sometimes I might not be as extroverted and talkative at times, and that sometimes fields a lot of questions if I'm okay, how I'm doing, like what's going on, um, like what's happening for you. And that can sometimes be really hard to deal with because sometimes I don't know how to even put into words what's going on. And if I'm struggling, it makes it harder for me to think about what's actually happening for me. Something that UUCP has done to help me feel welcome and included, it has been our pronoun stickers for our name badges, for sure, definitely. And of course, having a space for Black and Brown folks for community nights has been something I have very much enjoyed, and I'm very grateful for to be able to have Black UU space and to be able to um, have uh, Black UU services on Sundays as well. So that's something that UUCP has done that's amazing. Uh, Things that can be done better or things that people could do or just be mindful of different abilities. Different people who are neurodivergent, you might not know what they're going through or what neurodivergencies they have. So it's really important to be mindful and not to judge folks if they don't make eye contact. Sometimes I don't make eye contact when I'm talking to people, but it doesn't mean that I'm not listening or that I don't care. It's just I have trouble with paying attention and listening to you if I'm focusing on having to make eye contact. So
Thank you, Sydney. To better understand Sydney's experience with ADHD, we suggest you take a 30-second moving break. Move in your chair, move your hands, or whatever kind of movement makes you feel comfortable in your body right now. Next, we have Lynn McVean. Lynn will be sharing about experiences with bipolar mood disorder and being on the autism spectrum.
In my day-to-day life, I have to make sure that I take meds every morning, dinner, and bedtime, that I don't run out of meds, and I don't get confused or take extra. This is really, really essential for me to stay stable. I have to take good care of myself as much as I can, like getting enough quality sleep, eating healthy, drinking enough water, meditating every day, just to keep myself calm. I also monitor myself to check if my sleep or eating patterns change suddenly or if I find myself getting irritable over nothing. These are clues that my moods are getting out of whack, and I have to apologize to anyone I've yelled at, criticized, or bailed on, and go take good care of myself and deal with anything that's stressing me out. For me, being at UUCP is mostly a joy. I love UUCP for supporting similar values to mine and being able to make friends with like minded, quality people, many with fantastic skills and artistic talents. Unfortunately, I am super sensitive and I often get overwhelmed by crowds, too much stimulation or excitement, and I need to retreat. This is why I'm prone to leaving the sanctuary in the middle of the service and going to the office, fellowship hall, Katie's office, or the kitchen for peace and quiet. To help me feel welcome and included, please don't take offense or assume anything if you see me leave a service early or find me hanging out in an office or the kitchen or something. Please do respect the signs on chairs for not wearing perfume for the sections where that is, since part of my sensitivity is to things like smoke and fragrances. It makes my asthma worse. Please don't assume that I am weak-willed, and that's why I'm overweight. I experienced a lot of childhood trauma, and I'm doing the best I can to take care of myself and my family and to end the patterns of trauma in this generation, if at all possible. Thanks.
Thank you, Lynn. To help us understand Lynn's ideas about listening to her body and her emotions and her sensations, we'd like to take 30 seconds to let your eyes drift to a comfortable place in the room. Check in with yourself to see how comfortable your body is in this moment and what feelings you might be having.